So, what is live streaming and why should you care? Well, there's lots of reasons, and we're going to cover them in this video. Now, first of all, let me give you a brief introduction to live video streaming. Live video streaming means that you can stream video live from a device, generally a smartphone, to anybody else who happens to have the app installed either on their smartphones or, in the case of the software we're going to be talking about in this video, which is Facebook Live, on their computer or tablet device as well. And having live video streaming is a bit like having your own TV station. You can broadcast your own programming anytime that you want to anyone who has the equipment that's necessary to pick it up. However, unlike with a real TV station where you need a studio with lots of cameras and lighting and all sorts of other stuff, and you need a control gallery with lots of expensive equipment and highly trained technicians, and you need a stonking great transmitter tower to transmit the signal to a local area, or you need a satellite uplink if you're going to be broadcasting your TV station on satellite or cable. With live video streaming, and in particular with Facebook Live, all you need is a smartphone and the app. Now, of course, the concept of video streaming has been around for a while. Skype, in particular, has been a feature for many years. And a lot of people say, well, isn't Skype live video streaming? Well, yes and no. You see, Skype limits the number of people that you can share video with. You can have a one-on-one video conversation with somebody over Skype, or you can have a Skype conference call, but there is a limit to the number of people that you can share the video with. Now, Facebook Live allows video to be streamed publicly. Anyone who has the app or is among your Facebook friends can tune in and start watching at any time that you're broadcasting, that is. Also, unlike with regular TV, people can comment live, and that allows the person who's filming to view and respond to messages in real time. So how are people using Facebook Live? Well, if you were to tune in to a Facebook Live signal, either on your smartphone or on someone's Facebook page, you're going to see things like people doing workouts while their phone films them, people chatting over a cup of coffee or a mug of tea on a particular topic. People lying in bed just staring into the camera. It's so new. It's only been out at the beginning of 2016 that some people just simply turn it on and just see exactly what it does. So you just find people lying in bed or sitting on the sofa staring into the camera. You'll find people playing musical instruments. You'll find people just simply talking randomly on any given subject that they want. You'll find people reading excerpts from books. You'll find people who are not really doing anything, but they just are getting on with their lives, and they're letting the viewers watch them as they do that. And you'll find a whole lot more besides, especially as the app gets to be more and more well known and people think of different uses for it. But what's exciting is what's likely to happen as the technology progresses and the concept catches on. Now, live video streaming allows you to truly have eyes everywhere, and you can transport yourself anywhere in the world. And you can see what's going on through the eyes of others at the very moment that it's happening. Now, if you don't believe right now that live video streaming can get really big, then consider what would happen if there was a major world event right now. Now, let's assume that there's a big riot or a demonstration going on somewhere on the other side of the world to where you live. And let's imagine that there's a journalist in the press pack that's with the police at this demonstration. That journalist could have Facebook Live on their smartphone, and they could start streaming from the middle of the demonstration, from the middle of the crowd. So you could get a really good idea as to what's going on. It would be literally just like being there. You would see everything happening unedited in real time. So again, it would be just as if you were with this person right there in the middle of the demonstration, and you could see exactly what was going on. And in the future, we can also expect technology to progress and drive this forward further. Video fidelity will improve. At the moment, there's HD, which is pretty much standard. This is what you're watching this video in. 4K is starting to come in, and there's 8K and 16K just around the corner as well. So you're going to have a lot more options. Plus, at the moment, you can only use Facebook Live on a smartphone, but you can expect that you'll be able to stream from other cameras like a GoPro or something like that in the not too distant future, I would assume. So again, this is so new that it's going to really take off, and the options, we're only just starting to scratch the surface of the sort of things that you can do with live streaming video. Okay, now let's look at a few stats. Now, Facebook Live is so new that there aren't a lot of stats yet. But let's take a look at some of the competition, because Facebook Live is not, the first app that does this, although it does have a lot of features that some of the competitors don't have. And in particular, they don't have the power of Facebook behind them. Now, Periscope, which is probably Facebook Live's closest competitor, has over 10 million users. And Twitter purchased Periscope for an incredible $100 million before it launched. So you can see that Twitter saw the power of live streaming before Facebook did in many ways. Meerkat launched around the same time, and it had 120,000 users by the end of the first month. Twitch, which streams live video games, had 12 billion users at the end of 2014. That's the last figures that are available. But you can bet it's probably more now. And Blab is another new streaming app which shows promise with incredible engagement, and their average user spends 65 minutes a day watching videos on the platform. And even YouTube is starting to get into the act now, and YouTube live streams some events, and the E3 event in 2015 managed to attract a gigantic 8 million viewers within just 12 hours. So, as you can see, this is fantastic news. People see the huge potential of live streaming, and they're flocking to it. You should too. In this video, we're going to talk about some Facebook Live best practices, and these are as recommended by Facebook. Now, the first thing that Facebook recommend is that you let people know ahead of time when you're going to broadcast. And this is a very good idea because obviously you want to get as big an audience as possible, and it's not like you publish a TV guide or something. So you want to let people know ahead of time when you're going to broadcast. Now, there are lots of ways that you can do this. I suppose the easiest way is via Facebook itself, to let your Facebook friends, let your Facebook followers know that you're going to be broadcasting via Facebook Live, so that they can log in and watch your video at the time it's going to go out. You can also do a shout out to your followers on Twitter. And if you're aiming at a business audience, then probably making a post to your followers on LinkedIn would be a good idea as well. Something else that you can do is to send an email to your list, of course, just like you would if you were holding a webinar or something like that. You would send an email to your list to let them know, and you can do that for Facebook Live and encourage them to sign up. And of course, you should post the date and time on your blog so that your blog followers can tune in. And also anybody who happens to find your blog through an internet search can also log in and find out when your broadcast is going out. You should also go live when you have a strong connection. Now, Wi-Fi tends to work best, But if you can't find a nearby network, then you'll want a 4G connection. Now, I know that 4G isn't available everywhere. In most countries, it's available just in large cities. But if you can find a 4G connection, then that's great. Otherwise, you'll want to have a Wi-Fi connection to stream that. And if you have a weak signal, the Go Live button will be grayed out, and you won't be able to broadcast. So you want to make sure that you've got that ahead of time before you start to do your broadcast. When you're planning when you're going to do it from, you want to make sure that it is somewhere where you're going to get a nice strong signal. You also want to write a compelling description before going live. And a great description will capture fans' attention and help them understand what your broadcast is all about. And that means they're more likely to watch it right through to the end, and they're more likely to hear your message in its entirety. You should also ask your viewers to follow you and receive notifications when you go live. So call out that your audience can tap on the follow button on live videos and videos that were live, and then opt in to get notifications the next time that you go live. So again, it gives them more notifications so that they'll know ahead of time when your broadcast is going to go out. And you want to say hello to commenters by name and respond to their comments. Because one of the great things about Facebook Live is that you can communicate with your audience. They can send you comments which you can read as you're making your video, and then you can respond to them in real time. And your audience will be thrilled to hear you mention their name and answer their questions when you're live. And you should broadcast for longer periods of time to reach more people. Because the longer you broadcast, the more people are likely to discover you, and they're going to invite their friends on Facebook to watch the video. Now, Facebook recommends that you go live for at least 10 minutes, and you can stay live for up to 90 minutes. So you've got a lot of scope there, a lot of time that you can use. And finally, Facebook recommend that you be creative and go live often. So you can try different types of broadcasts. Try giving a talk to camera, try giving a webinar, or a live-inar, really, I suppose you could call it, over Facebook Live. You could try a how-to, lots of different things just to keep your audience interested, to keep them coming back for more. Don't do the same thing over and over again, because that's just going to be boring. And you should go live frequently to keep your audience engaged. Out of sight is out of mind, so you want to make sure that people keep coming back for more and that they see something that's going to interest them every time. So there you go, just a few Facebook Live best practices. Facebook Live is a fantastic app, and it has lots of potential for the future, and it's definitely a wave that you want to ride. But it's not perfect. So in this video, I want to examine some of the downsides of Facebook Live. And I suppose the biggest downside is that it's live, so mistakes can't be edited out. So if you do or say something stupid, or if something goes wrong, then everyone is going to know about it. So there's no taking it back. There's no second chance to do it again and get it right, like you can do if you're getting a YouTube video together or something like that. And while you'll never avoid banana skins completely, you can lessen the chances of an encounter. And that's by following what I call the 3 R's. Rehearse, rehearse, and rehearse. So you want to practice in front of a mirror until you've got your delivery perfect, especially if you're not used to being on camera. And you want to practice the stuff that you're going to do in your videos until you've got the routine right down to a T, so that you know exactly what to do, and you've tried it so often and you've done it so often you can do it in your sleep practically, and then when you actually have to go ahead and do it live, then the chances of something actually going wrong are going to be reduced. Note I say reduced. Things might still go wrong, but you'll lessen the chances of that happening. Another downside to Facebook Live, again because it's live, there's no music or editing to your videos. So, as I was just saying, you can't edit out mistakes. And you can't build atmosphere through adding music. Lots of people like to add some music to their videos to build the right sort of atmosphere. Well, you can't do that really in any type of Facebook Live video. In fact, there's no post-production of any kind. It is what it is, and it goes out live, and what they see is what they get. In fact, the only way that you can have music in your videos is to have music being played in the background. But you must get the volume right though, or it could be distracting and drown out what you're trying to say. And this can be a big problem because chances are you're not going to be monitoring the sound as it's going out either. So you never really know exactly how it's going to sound unless somebody sends you a message saying we can't hear you, speak up, or something like that. You can, though, save your videos for editing later. You can save them to the camera roll option that you have on Facebook Live. And this means that you can post them on video sites like YouTube in a more polished format. You can also post them on your Facebook timeline as a video as well. So it does give you that flexibility. Another thing is it's so new that not many people know about it. And this is perhaps the biggest problem. It was only launched at the beginning of 2016. Initially, it was only available in the US and then only on Apple iOS. And it's being rolled out to other countries, and it's being rolled out on Android. But, of course, not every country has it. And of course, you also need a 4G signal or Wi-Fi for it to work properly, which is another big problem, especially getting 4G. I know that most large cities in the US have 4G. In other countries, that's a bit slower. In rural areas, well, it's just a distant dream, really. So you really do need to have a nice strong Wi-Fi signal in order to use it if 4G isn't available. So again, that's a big problem. And you'll need to tell your followers and subscribers, especially those who aren't on Facebook, about the app as well as your content. And this makes double the workload because you've got to convince people to, first of all, sign up for Facebook if they're not already members, and then to install the software on their smartphones or to go to your Facebook page. You have to verify your Facebook page, and it's a lot of hassle. And so it makes a lot of workload for you. And, of course, because it's live, it's not always a convenient time for your viewers to tune in and see your broadcast, especially if they're in a different time zone. And this is something else, if you happen to have a video up on YouTube, well, people can log in and watch it at their convenience. If it's going out live, then of course they've actually got to be there at that time. And they've got to have their computer or their smartphone or their tablet device on at that particular moment. And finally, it's not available in every country in the world yet. It's being rolled out, I think it's in about 40 countries at the time that I'm making this video. It's across the US and it's in a lot of countries in Europe. But other places in the world, it's just simply not available. So if you have a far-flung audience, then they're not going to be able to see it at all. So there you go, just a few downsides to using Facebook Live. Facebook Live presents a range of opportunities for marketers, particularly for internet marketers. And I'm going to cover some of them in this video. Many marketers are already aware of the power of Facebook to build their brand, for audience awareness, and to create a buzz around product launches and so on. And of course, many marketers already harness the power of video on YouTube and other video sharing sites. Now, Facebook Live enables you to combine the best of both worlds and add an edge to the proceedings that comes from being live. This is happening right now. The thing is, though, not many people are using Facebook Live for internet marketing purposes at the moment. Now, mainly it's used for streaming personal stuff, stuff like this kid's birthday party that you can see on this phone. And this means that you're going to have a competitive edge over other marketers because not many marketers are using it. So you're going to be able to get out front and stay there. So when it comes to using Facebook Live for marketing purposes, your objectives are to amateurish right now. You can actually do this fairly easily. Simply come up with a format and make sure that the topic is nicely relevant to the nature of your niche. And you want to use the best production values that you can. So you want to make sure that the lighting is good, that the sound is good, that you've rehearsed your presentation, that you're not sort of umming and ahhing and that sort of thing, so that you can simply talk to the camera, or you can do the type of demonstration if you're doing a how-to video that makes you look really professional. So try to come up with a good theme.